Did I lose you?
Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Football Friday here as we get set for Buccaneers Patriots after a bye week. God, it feels like a gazillion years since the Bucs have played. Certainly since Bucky or Godwin has played, that's for sure. We'll have injury updates for you on that. USF, oh my Lord, what an onslaught last night at Raymond James Stadium in front of a national TV audience. What a branding out 24 hours it has been for USF football and athletics. Talk a little bit about that. I was there last night hanging out on the sideline with all the big boys. Derek Brooks and Rob Higgins and all his compatriots out there. The conference president was there. Panetti, it was like it was a showtime last night. So we'll get into that. The Lightning with a big comeback win last night against Vegas, baby. What a win last night for the Lightning. The power play showing some pulse. We got all good stuff here, Timmy, this morning. I don't know what's going on in Dallas, but it's nothing but we just winning, baby. Lots of winning going on in Tampa Bay. How you doing?
Not so much winning here in Dallas, but that's why I do Tampa radio, so I don't have to worry about it.
Good idea. Yeah.
I like to jump on the back of winners, JP.
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely. Well, then come aboard, my friend. Come aboard. Although we will chat a little bit about a story that has really kind of jumped out of the sports realm genre and into the mainstream. Marcus Nealon committing suicide at the age of 24. Has kind of ignited a little mental health for our youth debate and chatter, which I think is a good thing in the the only thing that could come out of something this tragic. So maybe we could talk a little bit about that as well. Lots to get to today. Obviously, Bucs and Patriots. We'll preview that for you. We got a big weekend of college football coming up. Scott Carter will join us to talk Florida-Kentucky. We'll set up FSU Clemson. And talk a lot of USF as well. So we got lots to get to today. And the great Brian Ford's going to join us from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their COO. It's COO week here. We had Derek Brooks on earlier this week, now Brian Ford. So COO week here at the JP Peterson Show. So let's kick it off, my friend, shall we?
Let's do it.
And thank you guys for jumping into comments already. And we're going to get to the Rays talk as well, as the Rays did not pick up the option on Pete Fairbanks.
Is that a surprise?
I have some thoughts on that. It is a bit of a surprise to me. Not a terrible move. Certainly terrible for us in the media because he was media gold, absolute media gold. Not a certain kind of suck, but an all-encompassing type of suck. One of the greatest quotes in Pete Fairbanks history. So, it's an all-encompassing suck to lose Pete Fairbanks. More as a relief pitcher, maybe not as a closer, maybe not as a, but certainly his leadership in the clubhouse, all those things, big intangibles. So we'll get into that Rays talk as well. So we got a lot to get to. So we'll zip through a bunch of it here in our first half hour before we get to Scott Carter. So let's jump in. And I'm going to start with USF because that was one hell of a performance last night by the Bulls. They scored 55 points and it could have easily been 75, maybe even 100. I mean, it was 48-10 about 3 minutes into the second half, and they were just naming their score. They had to take Byron Brown out early in the third quarter because what's the point of him being out there? And what a performance he put on last night in front of a national TV audience. Once again, hurdling players, running through players, great deep passes to Keyshawn Singleton. They were fantastic last night on it was the funniest line I'd ever seen. Stat line. It was 4 minutes left in the first half and their offense had not seen the field and they were up 14-0. Their time of possession was 10 minutes to 0. They had no yards and they were up 14-0. And then they fumbled the punt or it hits a USF Bulls player. So then UTSA gets it again. And it's still, their offense still hasn't been on the field. And in real time, it's been about 35, 40 minutes. So in the break, Golish had his offense go out and run wind sprints on the damn field in the 2.5-minute break to get their legs warm again. Brilliant, by the way. That guy thinks of everything. But I'm like, it was weird. We're in a TV timeout, and you see the whole offense lined up at like the 40-yard line, and they're running back and forth, like the two deep are running back and forth doing wind sprints. I'm like, yeah, you got to get them warm again. It's been that long. They hadn't even been on the field since warm-ups. So which was probably about 35, 45 minutes in real time. Most bizarre thing I've ever seen. And then so they had 2 defensive touchdowns, and then they had 4 straight offensive drives for touchdowns. Big play after big play. We told you to take the over yesterday, didn't we? Yeah. We told you that was a lock. And indeed it was. So, and then the whole atmosphere, ESPN on campus at 2:00 yesterday, watched some of that, and but the place was packed. The Marshall Center was packed. I mean, you talk about a branding opportunity for the last, 12 hours you have yesterday. It was all USF all the time, all over ESPN, the mothership. You cannot buy that type of publicity. And then, so you see all the, the cheerleaders and the palm trees on campus. And then, last night they had, I'm telling you, Timmy, on the sideline, I put a video up on Twitter from the goal line past the 50, 4 deep, nothing but recruits. Nothing but recruits there last night on a beautiful night. ESPN there. Listen, the crowd wasn't great. That's still one thing that bugs the shit out of me.
That's hard to imagine.
Yeah, I mean the entire other side. I guess not the alumni side, but the other side. I don't even know why they call that, but I mean it was sparse at best, and that's the TV side, which is bad because the TV cameras point that way, and that whole side is empty. I don't know what it looked like on TV, but now the home side is nice. It's nice and filled in, but no upper deck. I don't know what the number was last night, maybe close to 30,000. But golly, man, it's just I don't want to get into the negative here, but it's a Thursday night. I mean, there's 3.5 million people in this area. There's 250,000 USF alumni. We got to do better than that, for these recruits. Because it's a beautiful atmosphere. It's an NFL stadium. It's pumping. The music's going. It's got great pageantry. The Thundering Herd's out there, by the way, unbelievable national anthem. Lone trumpet on one side starts the anthem. Lone trumpet on the other side kicks in with the next stanza. And then full band in the middle in the USF logo with the salute to service, red, white, and blue, USF, U at the 50. I mean, perfectly orchestrated, perfectly executed, very, very emotional. So, kudos, shout out to the Thundering Herd. They were fantastic last night. So the atmosphere was great, but when you look up into the stands, it ain't Doak Campbell. It ain't the Swamp. It's not even Hard Rock, which they'll have about 10 fans there this week. And if you're recruiting against the big boys, which you are, it just doesn't float. It doesn't float. So anyway, that's that. That is what that is. But the players could not have been any better. The coach could not have been any better. They execute well. They're great on special teams. They don't do stupid stuff like Florida State does. They're smart players. They're big players. Their strength and conditioning. They have a lot of good-looking athletes out there, and that means something because it always wasn't that way in USF.
Right.
And so they looked impressive last night. And I was talking to Brett McMurphy for a little bit, and Luganbill, who was doing the game for ESPN, and Matt Berry came into the area, and Brett went over and chatted with him for a little bit and can overhear a little bit of the conversation. It was a lot about, wow, this is something, and that's, the Luganbill and Matt Berry are big voices at ESPN. They're two of the biggest voices in college football. And, when it comes down to it in the end, that matters because ranking matters. Ranking matters in the, that scam of a college football playoff committee that they have.
Yeah.
But those things matter, and perception matters. And so when you win a game like that, it freaking matters. And they put it on. They put it on. And, one other thing I want to say, and we've talked a lot about the coaching and finding the right guy and all that stuff. And, the FSU lost another legacy recruit yesterday, a defensive back, the number 2 defensive back in the nation's Timmons, whose dad played for Florida State. these guys that are well committed to FSU and supposedly entrenched at FSU in the recruiting class, right? And he flipped. And there's been a ton of going back to Travis Hunter. Mike Norvell has not been able to make a connection with these players good enough to keep them. It happens every year, and then we'll go out and overpay for some other guys to salvage the class. But there is a problem that he cannot connect with recruits in a way that builds any type of loyalty whatsoever. And I understand it can get into a bidding war, but Florida State's got as much money as anybody. They're top 15 in NIL. There comes a time when your coach has to lock in his charisma and his authenticity has to breed that loyalty. And in my mind, from what I can see in the results of the volatility, Mike Norvell doesn't have that. But I tell you somebody who does, Alex Golish. Alex Golish is an authentic dude. And his players respond to him. And that's why in year 3, they're on the cusp of winning their first ever conference championship. And this is a dramatically better football team than the first 2 that he's had. Dramatically better. And that's what should happen in the 3rd year. You're establishing your culture. You're establishing your identity. You're establishing your players, the soul of the program. Let me ask you, does Florida State have a soul? Do they have an identity? Do they have a brand? Do they have a culture in 6 years under Mike Norvell? The answer to that is a big effing no. And that's what makes the difference in college coaches. Yes, X's and O's help. Managing games helps. Golish had a bit of a flub against Memphis. He owned it. My sense is he'll get better. Mike Norvell keeps making the same stupid 4th down mistakes over and over and over and over again. His teams are completely undisciplined. And I'm sorry, but I ain't falling for the big Mike Norvell PR campaign that's been going on with his players. We didn't hear squat during the 4-game losing streak. Nothing. Crickets. Now it's a love fest. And I just bring up FSU to show the contrast in these head coaches. So I was not aware of this, but evidently Coach Traylor from UTSA made some reference to USF's NIL, on a much different scale. We've seen this at the higher ends with Saban and some of the other coaches, right? People belly aching about NIL money so they can, get the fundraising go at their place, and so evidently Traylor said something, but listen to what Golish said last night after the game, and this was, this is him talking to his players. Saying, I got your effing back. Nobody's coming at us. I understand how hard you guys are working and you're doing everything I'm asking you to do. This is your reward. But when somebody F's with us, I'm going to stand up for you. And so this little diatribe from last night is speaking directly to the culture and his players. Listen to Alex Golish last night.
I want to say I respect Coach Traylor so much. I respect the program that he's built from the ground up. Just want to guard, and I've kept my mouth shut on it all week, but I do want to guard the comments made about that. And I understand what he's doing. He's trying to generate more for his own program, but don't do it at the expense of us. Don't do it at the expense of commenting about the resources we have, about what our roster looks like, and how much money is spent on a roster. Your prerogative is to go build your own program, but I think when you're talking about money on a roster, you're taking away from the fact that there's a bunch of dudes in that locker room that have poured into their process. There's a bunch of coaches that have demanded it of them. And I think when you make comments like that rosters are bought, it discredits the fact that there's recruiting, that there's relationships being built, that there's development and coaching going on. Yep. And I'm good with lobbying to make sure that you have the resources you need. I genuinely am. And I say it wholeheartedly that I have so much love and respect for Coach Traylor and what he's done and how he's done it, because he does it the right way. He's a good man, and he has a hell of a football program. But don't discredit the fact that our guys work as hard as anybody in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Our guys have developed, and yet we've got resources because we've made a commitment to building a special football program here and a special athletic department here. But I want to act like anybody's buying players around here, because that ain't the case, and that's never been the case. We recruit, we retain, we develop, we pour into our players, we love our players, but we demand a lot of our players, and we love them harder than anything we'll ever demand from them. And that's my only 2 cents on it. When you start talking about other people's rosters to try to benefit yourself, I think you tread water that implies that there's not an elite level of work here. And there's a ton that went into not just the recruiting and the retaining and the developing and the relationship building, but the fact that there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that has gone into those resources. Been a lot of lunches and dinners begging for resources to come up. So just don't discredit what these kids have done and what this coaching staff has done in terms of building a program that's sustainable, that's respected, where kids play really, really hard. And that's just my 2 cents on it. And I don't normally get up here and have.
And listen, I love the way he put that out there. He hit all the right notes, and he did it in a very respectful way. And I'm sure he talked with Coach Traylor about this in some degree before he did that. And I think he was, and he said all the disclaimers that needed to be said. But what he was talking about was not only to his players, but to the recruits that were there tonight. Mm-hmm. And he's circling the wagons and saying, "You're my guys." And it's also great that, you know, there's another team complaining about the facilities and the NIL at USF, because that makes recruits go, "Oh, okay, they're doing it better than a lot of these other places are in the conference," and they are. And I also love the word that he used, sustainable. Sustainable. Yeah. You know what sustains? Having a coach stick around for a while. Is it sustainable, Coach Golish? Don't make me a liar. Don't make me a liar. There was a lot of chatter last night about that among the and I'm dancing around it. It's like, you know, we're talking about a no-hitter here. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to mention it, but you know what I'm talking about. And to a man, that is the focus. Derek Brooks came on this show this week and said that is the focus. We got to keep our coach. And that's not just about money, but they'll address that as well. It's about atmosphere. It's about culture. It's about sustainability. And I don't want him going to the mic talking about sustainability and all that hard work and everything he built and check it out.
Yep. And
I know coaches do that all the time, but if you're authentic, and I think he is, he wants to see something through here. And they've gotten to number 18. I get all that, but they have not accomplished anything yet. They got to win their first conference championship. Now, they had a little stumble at Memphis, but that's okay. You win out against Navy this week. Good Navy team. Go to Annapolis. Take care of business. You're a better team than them. Then you got UAB and Rice. We don't need to even talk about that. Those are stat games. And you got to go out there because it's a TV show. And Golish knows this. And he's going to have to put up points, and lots of them, because it is a beauty contest. We have been, that is not left up for debate anymore. And frankly, I didn't necessarily want Byron Brown in there, but, you got to keep going, Coach. If you can score 70, score 70. I know that's not what you want to do. You don't want to embarrass the other coach. You don't want to embarrass the other team. I get that. But this is a beauty contest, as we found out with Florida State a few years ago. It matters. So score as many freaking points as you can.
That used to not matter. It used to not matter. A win was a win. But these days.
Right?
Yeah.
We've learned that, right? Any coach in the world can run up as many, and you have free license to do so. It's not your fault. ESPN did that. Your system does that. So it's not your fault. Score 100. You need to. if you can, because it matters. All these metrics matter. So run it up. I feel sorry for the other team. It's not cool. Shouldn't be that way. I get it. But this is the world we live in. So kudos to USF.
And when did – because I've heard other coaches comment on it. Mike Elko talked about this when they got whatever accused or whatever the word is for this. When did buying players – paying for players become an insult or a cut down to a program? Because that's the game now.
Right.
That's all. That's what it's about. I don't understand the coaches, and I'm not criticizing Golish on his take. I'm just like, someone says, man, you guys bought your roster. Yeah, we absolutely bought our roster. That's the game now. We're supposed to go out and buy our roster. I'm sorry that we outspent our competitors. I'm sorry that we outspent our rivals. But you know what? That's because we're better.
Yeah.
It's also part of the recruiting process now. Yeah. It's how much can you pay? How much does your program have? To me, that's not an insult to the program. That's a credit to the program.
No, absolutely. And they know that. And now it's just a point. And I mean, when Saban did that, was it Saban complaining about somebody? It was Jimbo Fisher, I think.
It was the Aggies, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it was that 2022 class.
Please stop. Please stop, Mr. I've been paying players when it wasn't legal. Get out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense. But anyway,
so ridiculous.
Great day for USF. Fantastic day. And I saw Derek Brooks there and Rob Higgins. They kind of announced Derek as the COO last night before the game, firing everybody up. As I said, the commissioner was there last night. It's, by the way, and that's Tim Panetti, I believe. And that dude is sharp, and he's a sharp guy. He's going places in this business. He's not going to be in the American for very long. I wish you take over the ACC for that dead fish, Jim Phillips, because this guy's got a backbone. But anyway, all right. So we're going to talk UF with Scott Carter here in just a little bit. So I want to bounce over to the Lightning real quick, and we'll do more on them in the second half. What a performance last night! Not the first period. The first period was awful. I heard Dave Michigan talking about on Lightning Power Lunch with Greg Anelli. By the way, great podcast. If you're a Lightning fan, you must be listening to that podcast. It's fantastic. And he said they in Colorado, they had to sit on the tarmac for about an hour and a half. So they did not get into Vegas until like 3 or 4 in the morning. And then they were up at practice. The practice was substandard, and Coop wasn't happy about it. And then last night they came out in the first period and they had no legs. They were still just dead tired. I got outshot 15-3. They were down 2-0. It was ugly as ugly could be. But the next 2 periods were beautiful, as beautiful can be. And it was led by the James, Bjorkstrand, and Gonsalves line. James got his first NHL goal last night, had a 3-point night, made a great pass to Hagel for the go-ahead goal. Hagel had a couple of goals. Cooch had a couple of goals as they came back, roared back, and really owned the game in the second and third against a good Vegas team, and got a big win, 6-3, going away with the empty netter. The power play looked good last night. Looked really, really good. Scored. Got 7 shots on 3 power plays. They were dangerous. They got it in. Radish taking over for Hedman at the point for some time. So that was interesting. So they're looking at everything, and it clicked last night. It was much better. They moved the puck better. They got better shots. Kucherov was back on his familiar right side. So everything good last night. The power play got going. Second and third, comeback win against Vegas. You get 4 out of 6 on a West Coast road trip. I mean, that's fantastic. All good for the Lightning. So we get into a little bit more of that as we get into the show. And the Bucs yesterday, no Godwin, no Bucky, no Hassan Reddick, obviously no Mike Evans, but we did see the big man Luke Edeke coming back at right tackle, which is fantastic. And he looked good. So it looks like he's trending to play this week. That is going to be a huge return. And Josh Grizzardi, offensive coordinator, said Baker's got his juice back. He's got his juice back, which is something I really wanted to hear. So that off week did him well, and hopefully that oblique can stay functional and he can throw with accuracy. Otherwise, we got issues. We got major issues. So we'll get to more Bucs as we head through the show. All right, I want to welcome in our good friend Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com as we get set to hit the road here a little bit, going up on the Bourbon Trail, Scotty, I'm sure. Have a couple toddies up there. How are you, my friend?
Hey, guys, doing well. Yeah, it's been kind of the season where a little extra bourbon probably helps. So
Indeed it will.
Maybe
for
tonight,
the players.
Maybe tonight we'll be hitting one of those bourbon trails, as you mentioned. It's always a good extracurricular activity up in Lexington.
Yeah, absolutely. But never an easy place to play, right? Never an easy place to play up in Kentucky. It's just a little different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly gotten harder over the years. I mean, they've done a great job up there building the stadium out, creating a better fan experience. It's totally changed from when I first started going up there a few years ago. And, of course, Florida's lost 2 in a row up there. So, this used to be a game where Gator fans automatically check to win, but they've lost 4 of the last 7 to the Wildcats. So that says a lot about, Kentucky, what Mark Stoops has done, and also says where the Gators are, just trying to reestablish themselves among the elite in the SEC.
87 to 2017, right?
Yeah,
that was the run.
Straight wins over the Wildcats. And that ended in Dan Mullen's second game as the Gators coach back in 2018 at the Swamp. So you can imagine that, it got a little loud that week. But
yeah, I bet it did.
They did okay. What I remember the most is I can't remember the guy, the Kentucky linebacker on the sideline. He went viral because he did the Stone Cold Steve Austin thing with the beer can or whatever right there on the field.
The other one I remember, and I can't remember what year it was, but the Gators went up there, and it was towards the end of the win streak. And Kentucky was going to win the game, and Florida came back and won it on a play where nobody covered the outside receiver. Remember that? It was like there was nobody out there. They just took the snap and just threw it out, and that's how Kentucky lost, and the streak continued, I think.
Yeah, that one. You had the famous one with Warfel to Doring.
The Doring, yeah.
That's the way it goes when you get such a lopsided one-way rivalry. Everything goes one team's way. But that hasn't happened to the Gators much lately. No. And they're looking to see, they lost last week over in Jacksonville against Georgia, and now they're trying to rebound just to keep there's still 4 games left, so a lot of football left.
Yeah, a lot of football left. And let's go back to that Georgia game where I thought Florida played really, really well in their first game with their interim coach, Billy Gonzalez, and had a chance to win the game. Controversial call at the end. Sure looked like a catch to me. What'd you think of the performance and then that particular call at the end, how it ended?
Yeah, I thought Gators, I was curious how they were going to come out and react after, the first game without Billy Napier. I thought they answered the bell. They played well enough to win that game. Yeah, Billy Gonzalez, I thought, had him ready to play. I liked some of his decision-making. I had no problem at all going for it on 4th down there when they were up 20-17. They're trying to make it a 2-score game. It didn't work out. And then, of course, the play that, a lot of people look back on is the deep pass on the 3rd and 4 on Florida's final possession. DJ Lagway got out of the pocket there. J. Michael Sturdivant was just wide open. If it's kind of set his feet and thrown it to him on the run, it would have been an easy score. Ball was underthrown, and Sturdivant reaches back and slips. I still, after looking at count in the moment, I didn't think it was a catch. But as I watched replay after replay, it looks like it hit the inside of his arm and never touched the ground. But it was one of those plays, guys, where whatever the result was, since there was inconclusive evidence, you knew the call was going to stand. So if they called it a catch, it was going to stay a catch. Unfortunately for Florida, they called it incomplete, and it stayed incomplete. And then, of course, the Gators went for it on 4th down. They messed, and that was the game. And, if you look at the history of this rivalry, Florida's had plenty of those moments back in the 70s and 80s. Not so much in the 90s and mid-2000s, but it's kind of back to Georgia's favor now. They're getting those calls. I think Kirby Smart's now 8-2 against Florida. So it was just – after the game, I hadn't seen the Gators that dejected at all this season. They just – really wanted that game. They knew they were in position to win it, and that was a tough locker room. You could tell it was hurting.
Well, it's funny. I say this all the time. The ACC officials have always screwed Florida State and Clemson and Miami. They've never liked the big dogs, and these officials, it always seems like the calls go against them. Whereas in the SEC, they know who's ranked high. They understand how the game is played. It just means more, and they understand how it's played. I'm not saying any big conspiracies here, but it just seems like in the SEC, the big dogs get the calls. The ACC, not so much, but whatever. I will say this: I thought I thought Florida would cover, and they did. Only because Georgia chose not to score at the end. I'm sure Kirby might hear about that from some of his alumni, but I thought all in all, it was a really good performance by the Gators. So with them being dejected, how does that play in this week when you're kind of going up against an opponent that, doesn't have the cachet of the other top fives that you play every freaking week?
Yeah, that's another great question for this week, because you could see, okay, it's easy to get up against Georgia even when the season's going out of control. Kentucky's a different story.
Right.
So I'll be curious to see how they come out, whether or not they have that same energy. And they got to execute better either way, guys. That's what cost them against Georgia. It wasn't the effort. It wasn't the coaching. They just didn't execute at some key moments when plays were there. And I don't care how good of a team you are or how mediocre. I mean, if you can change the narrative pretty quick if you execute some of those plays. They've been able to do that all season, whether it's DJ Lagway missed some plays or passes, the offensive line not being able to push for a yard gain on that 4th and 1.
Mm-hmm.
There have been other issues, but Kentucky, this is one of those games, guys. If the Florida comes out and wins, it gives them a little momentum to finish strong. But if they lose and it doesn't look very inspiring, you got to wonder what the last 3 games will look like, because then, you might have some guys like thinking more about transfer
checking
portal.
out.
Yeah. So you hope that doesn't happen. They've showed no signs of that. That's one of the strengths of this locker room, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's Saturday night. It's definitely a important barometer game in that sense.
Scott, I haven't thought that the defense for the Gators have been horrible all year. Against the big dogs, you allowed 26 to Miami. You allowed 34 to the Aggies in the loss to Georgia, 24. Other than that, the defense has been pretty good. Now, Kentucky, not so great on offense. They're outside the top 100 in points and yards offensively this year. What are your thoughts about the defensive matchup? I know it's a road game, and that it's an SEC road game at that, so I know that matters a little bit. But what are your thoughts on the defense taking on Kentucky?
Well, Florida's defense has not been the problem, and they played, I think, well enough to win most games. It's certainly been an offensive issue. That's going to be a challenge against Mark Stoops' defense, because they're always pretty solid. I think defensively, the Gators, if they can just avoid giving up those explosive plays, and Kentucky, this offense isn't necessarily built for that. I can tell you one thing, the Gators are happy about. There's no Ray Davis at Kentucky. I don't know if you guys remember that game a couple of years ago.
Yes.
He ran for 230 some yards, and it was over by the first quarter. Kentucky doesn't have that kind of player or offense right now. I think they're in kind of a rebuild mode here. And, guys, I was looking at this matchup. I mean, Kentucky has not won an SEC home game since beating the Gators in 23.
Yeah.
They've lost 10 in a row. Yeah, they've lost 10 in a row at home against SEC opponents. And Florida, meanwhile, is 3-13 in its last 16 true SEC road games. So I tweeted a little while ago, something's got to give them.
Something's got to give with this.
So
wow. Those are stark numbers. Wow.
Yeah, it's hard to lose 10 in a row at home against conference opponents. Now, they have played some really good teams like Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Alabama, but still yet, that's hard to do.
I don't even think FSU did that. So this is going to be it. So you got this week, and then you got to go to Oxford to play 7th-ranked Ole Miss the next week.
Yeah.
So how does that work? when you're publicly chasing their coach and you're going to Oxford, are we watching Scott Strickland on the field before the game to see if he gets anywhere near Lane Kiffin or all eyed? Like, how is this going to work? It's a little odd juxtaposition, to say the least. I mean, I'm kind of half joking. Well, I am joking, but it's a little awkward, isn't it?
I mean, it is, but it also is what makes college football so unique, and it's kind of an incestuous sport in a lot of ways.
Indeed.
And it creates these storylines like this, and Of course. I mean, ESPN, and I'm sure they'll have their cameras. If Scott Strickland gets within smoke signal of when Lane Kiffin, they're going to start talking about it. So
Wait,
that
he's
does add an
handing him a
element.
paper. What is that paper that he's handing Lane Kiffin?
That's right. That's
It
right.
appears to be a term sheet.
It's
Let's
a
zoom
number.
in.
Yeah. We all know what's good people are going to be talking about. We all know what they're going to be writing about.
Yeah.
We don't know where it's going because, I mean, Lane Kiffin, obviously, there's a lot going on for him right now. He's got a very good Ole Miss team. They're still in the hunt for the SEC and the college football playoff. And of course, we know that the Gators certainly have interest in him. And now there's some discussion that maybe the Dolphins are going to have interest in him.
Ooh.
And
Wow.
that's not out of the realm of possibility either. So it's good to be Lane Kiffin these days, but
Yeah.
Gator fans are hoping that in a few months or a few weeks, maybe he's their coach. I think there's still a chance, but you just never know until it happens. Unless those TV cameras catch him actually signing that piece of paper, guys, on that next week. We just don't know.
Signing an autograph. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing.
It'd be very interesting to see how that whole thing shakes out in Oxford next week. Injury wise, how are the Gators this week? Any big stuff coming? I know they lost Dallas Wilson for the season, which was a huge loss because you would have really liked to see that kid kind of develop in year one, heading into whatever next year brings.
Yeah, it's been a tough week for the Tampa guys, fellas.
Yeah, right.
Dallas Wilson and Eugene Wilson, he's out for this game. He got hurt coming out of that Georgia game. It was something that popped up early in the week, so he's ruled out. They've got a lot of receivers out. They're hoping to get Vernell Brown III back. He's their leading receiver, so it's going to be one of those games where they're probably going to have to rely on a couple of young guys at wide receiver. I think it might be a big Jaden Ball kind of game if the offense is moving the ball. But it's a game that Florida obviously can win. I don't think it'll be pretty either way, but they need to get one of these wins to just kind of feel a little bit better going into the latter stages because you still have the Vols and the Seminoles coming to the Swamp. So
yes,
you don't want to just lay on the sideline for those two games.
Well, I mean, it's basically for a bowl game here. If you don't win this one, you can't get there, in my opinion. You still have a mathematical shot, but you win this one, then you got, I think you'll be favored against Florida State, and the Tennessee game I think is a toss up. So I mean, at Ole Miss, not that you can't win, but I think this is a huge game because it could get them some postseason aspirations. I don't know how that important that is to players these days. I don't know. Do you get a sense that it's like, oh, we got to get to the bowl game? It's not like 30 years ago where that was so important to these kids because they got stuff. They got the big bowl pay. It finally got something for their work.
They got swag.
The swag bag, yeah. Does it matter to them anymore?
I'm sure if they were answering, in all honesty, probably not as much to a lot of them because, those bowl gifts, they get that many times over now with NIL. Right. So, but, if you have some pride, you care about your program, you care about yourself as a player and wanting to go out there and for the fans and all that, it still matters. I mean, once that stops mattering totally, then I think
we're done here.
Bigger issues. Yeah, we'll be talking about something else. But
maybe you build that into NIL where, hey, you get a per game bonus in your NIL package. And if you make a bowl game, you get a bonus, just like NFL players do with playoffs and Super Bowl and stuff, then I think it would matter a little more.
I agree. And there's such little transparency in NIL deals that maybe I haven't heard that's already being kind of negotiated in the contracts. But I know if I was going to pay like my quarterback $1 million or $2 million, I'm putting every damn clause I can in there to make sure he's motivated,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, Scotty, great stuff. Go to FloridaGators.com to get all of Scott's content. Enjoy the bourbon, my friend, and hopefully we'll bring home a win. Thank you, partner.
All right, fellas. Have a good weekend.
See you,
all
Scott.
Right. Gator Report brought to you by the great folks at Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES Lawgroup.com. Scott Jeeves, big Gator fan, got his way. Billy Napier is out. Who's the next guy? Scott's going to have to dig in his pocket. All the big Gators are going to have to dig into their pockets. I mean, buyout's only $20 million, though. That's
nothing. That's
chump change for buyouts for Napier. But who's next? And if it's Lane, boy, it's going to be a lot of money. Going to be a lot of money. And now the Dolphins are coming after Lane Kiffin. I wonder, and this is a question we got to ask ourselves, are all these great college coaches, because Sark has said he wants to go to the NFL, are they tired of this? If they have the chance to jump to the NFL, are they all going to go to the NFL now?
Man,
I wonder.
And I'm not a coach, obviously, but I don't understand the appeal nowadays of college. Other than the money, you might make more money in college now than you do in the pros. If for a first time head coach coming,
well, you're certainly working a hell of a lot harder.
And absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's funny. I see Sark and I see Kiffin both as college coaches. I don't see them as pro coaches. I thought the same thing about the old ball coach, before he went to the Redskins. I never thought that was going to work. And it just does, obviously Saban hated it, so
yeah.
I just don't see that working for some guys, but Kiffin's still fairly young, I guess. And Sark's pretty young. So,
well, I think there was an allure to college, of the culture and I don't want to say that, when doing it for the love of the game, because some guys were getting paid, but there's, what I'm talking about. It was just a much different culture, 10, 15 years ago in terms of college football, and professional ranks is very cold and very, and I think, the professional game is becoming more like the collegiate game, and the collegiate game, they're molding into one almost. So if the atmosphere is the same, and your quality of life would be so much better as a pro coach, because you're not constantly recruiting your players and retaining them, maybe that's what happens. And that's going to be a hit for college football. If all these big name coaches, they're the stars. I mean, a lot of them they're the consistent stars year to year. The players come and go. Yeah. But the Lane Kiffins, the Sarks, the Kirby Smarts, for his time there, Nick Saban, these guys are the brand, a lot of them. And if they're all going to jump ship, that's going to hurt college football, like it's hurt college basketball. Yeah. Having a lot of these icons leave the game because of all the bullshit going on. Yep. Yeah, not good. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side, get to your comments. Brian Ford, the COO of the Buccaneers, is going to join us in just a little bit as well. We're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Get your insurance checkup here at the end of the year as those bills come due. You've been with the same homeowners insurance company for a long time. Let's check and see if there's somebody offering less, a little bit of a discount here and there, and save you some money. Let's do the same with your auto insurance. Rates are coming down for a lot of these big insurers. So let's let the folks at Italiano Insurance shop it around for you and see if they can save you some money. They do all the work. You save the money. It's an easy call, 813-877-7799. You will talk to a human who will walk you through the whole thing. ItalianoInsurance.com. Back in 3. Experience the art of driving at Genesis of Tampa, where luxury meets innovation and every detail is crafted for you. Experience the art of driving at Genesis of Tampa, where luxury meets innovation and every detail is crafted for you. From the bold G70 to the refined GV80, Genesis delivers power, elegance, and technology years ahead of its time. Book service online, and our Genesis Experience advisors will pick you up and drop off your vehicle. If available, you can enjoy a courtesy car while yours gets a complimentary interior vacuum plus a generous offer for your trade. Every new Genesis comes with the Miracle Advantage Plan, 10 years or 250,000 miles of powertrain warranty and 4 years of complimentary maintenance. Visit us at 801 East Bears Avenue or online at genesisoftampa.com. Genesis of Tampa, luxury redefined. Italiano Insurance would like to congratulate the Bucs on their 50th anniversary season. And you know what? We've been here for every season and then some, over 60 years in business. We've seen some smart coaches with great game plans, but if you don't have flood insurance or business insurance, that's a terrible game plan. That could ruin you financially. You don't want to take that L. So call 813-877-7799 and let their friendly agents quarterback your insurance and save you big money. Italiano also sponsors our FSU report every week, so go Noles. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Although it may seem tempting to go without healthcare insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Are you having legal issues with a business partner or other legal business issues? The attorneys at Walters, Levine, and DeGrave can help. Call 800-616-0384 for a free consultation. At Walters, Levine, and DeGrave, we've redefined what a law firm can be with top-tier attorneys, personal service, and 26 years of success. From business law to civil litigation, we deliver smart, client-focused solutions. Walters, Levine, and DeGrave recently won a $6.4 million jury verdict from a large real estate developer, and they can win for you too. Walters, Levine, and DeGrave. Let's solve it together. Not attorney spokesman. For a free consultation, call 800-616-0384 or go to walterslevine.com. Offices Tampa, Sarasota.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Brought to you by the great folks at don'tgouncovered.com. Open enrollment is going on right now. Make sure you got your health insurance squared away for next year. Do what you can. Go to don'tgouncovered.com. There's some information there about what you will need when you chat with the customer service representative. The phone number's right there. So just go to the website, don'tgouncovered.com. I've been dealing with them for 5 years, and they've really saved me thousands of dollars on my health insurance. So give them a call. It's a free call. They'll walk you through the whole thing, so you don't have to go on the website yourself and try to figure all that shit out. You won't. Don'tgouncovered.com is where to go and get your health insurance for the upcoming year. Good folks over there.
Hey, JP, before you get running, I had a friend fly into Tampa yesterday midday.
Glad they made it safe.
And caught this photo from the plane on their way.
Oh, she is. The grand old decrepit lady.
How do you like that?
Like a lot of times in St. Petersburg, we're going to put a facelift on this obsolete old thing, and
lipstick on a pig, JP.
Back down to the beach bars and see if we can pick Magda. Remember Magda?
Yeah,
that's what we should call the truck, Magda, or something about Mary.
Yep, Grandma Magda.
Gonna fix that up with a little lipstick on that pig, and away we go.
I don't know. The older I get, the better Magda looks to me in that movie.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. If you know what I'm talking, if you know, you know, boys. One of the greatest movies of all time.
It is.
That's our Magda right there. Getting the top put back on, lift it up a little bit. Oh, my Lord. It's going to need a lot of Botox over the next 3 years, but we'll do what we can. We'll do what we can. Been a lot of cool videos from the guys working up there on the roof, and we appreciate that. But we're going to be in there for 3 more years. And, interesting that they picked up, by the way, Orestes is going to be here in the last 15 minutes, so he'll talk about the Raves moves, and we'll get his thoughts. Because we've spoken about it before, and we both agreed that they should pick up the options for Fairbanks and Bilal, and Taylor Wald's got his deal done. That's a steal for what he brings to the team. And Bilal was interesting. I don't know if that means they're going to keep him or trade him. At $12.5 million with the numbers he put up last year, he's a bargain. So if I'm them, and we talked about this last week, I would move Chandler Simpson back to second base and see what I could get for Bilal, because he got through the season last year and was very productive. Him doing that 2 years in a row with his bad back as he gets older, I think this is an opportunity to sell high, to be quite honest. We love him, but I mean, this is This is how I think you can build a team. And I saw a lot of people yesterday going, "Oh, they're cheap, just like the rest of just like Stu. They're not going to pay Fairbanks." And to be fair, I thought it would be good to pick up his option. I think he's worth $11 million. But I don't necessarily trust him as my closer. His strikeout rate has been going down consistently. Here's Michael LaRue says, Pete Fairbanks' strikeout rate has declined over the last 4 seasons, dropping from 14 Ks per 9 in 22 and 23 to about 8 Ks per 9 in 24 and 25. That is a dramatic difference for a closer. Yeah. And he's also lost 2 miles per hour on his fastball. So the bottom line is he's just not the guy he used to be. He's the best quote in the clubhouse by far, and we love him. But, this is Eric Neander making this decision, saying he's not worth the $11 million. I thought you could sign him and trade him. I thought he would be worth something as a setup guy, maybe better than a closer. But as much as I love Pete Fairbanks, and I love Pete Fairbanks, I don't love him closing games. He's gotten shaky, to say the least.
And for 11, he's got to do that. He's got to be able to do that.
I mean, 11 is, what are the best relievers in the game make, 20, 25? So he's certainly not the best reliever in the game. He's not a shutdown guy. But I think now if you take that $11 million and invest it in another and go get me a better closer, okay. It's hard. So it's hard to make assumptions now about this new group. It's hard to say where the payroll is going to be. We don't know. And I hear people saying, well, it doesn't look like they're going to spend how do you know that? Has that been reported somewhere? Because the vibe that I've gotten is they're going to try to increase the payroll immediately, and not to, $250 million, but I think they're going to try to get it, over $100 million and make some positive moves. Now, I reject this entire notion that they overpaid for the ball club. I mean, every time somebody buys a ball club, they overpay. And whatever they're paying up front has nothing to do with the payroll of the next year. I mean, and they overpaid. They got stadium to pay for. You're not writing a check for $1 billion tomorrow. You're just not the way it works. And you're also getting 300 plus million in income this year.
Yeah. Because
you're not paying anything for your stadium. Your revenues, you're going to get your $60 million or more in revenue sharing. You're going to get your 100 plus million in central fund revenue before you sell one ticket. I believe attendance is going to be better because of the Stu effect, the no longer Stu effect. I think you're going to have better attendance. I think this group is going to market the team a hell of a lot more. It never was marketed before, and that will bring in more revenue. I think they're and again, if your revenues are over 300 million, which they've already been without marketing the team, and they should have a new television deal where they're selling local advertising, where if they ingratiate themselves to the public and local businesses, that could be a great revenue generator. So I don't know where the pessimism comes from at all about this new group. That seems odd to me. And every indication I've gotten from them is they're going to make all these things better. And why would MLB force this sale to a group that doesn't have money to invest in the team and still get revenue sharing? That makes no sense. That factually makes no sense. Why would MLB, which is one of their big problems with the Rays, is they're a freaking welfare team for revenue sharing when they're the 11th largest market? They shouldn't be. This is why they handpicked this group to get the deal done in Tampa, to increase the revenues and no longer need revenue sharing from the other teams. So none of that. So unless it's been reported somewhere, and I know they haven't said anything about not doing more payroll, I don't know where this is coming from. But,
yeah, and as far as this overpaying for the team thing goes, look, that's the world that we live in. Do you think you don't overpay when you go buy groceries at the grocery store? Because you do. When you go buy a car, new or used, you overpay. When you buy a house, you overpay.
But overpaying, Tim, in the sense of for a franchise is you paid more than some Forbes or some other people, what they estimated the team to be worth. They don't see the numbers.
And they're not buying the team.
The Forbes doesn't see all the numbers. They're estimating what these, and every time these teams sell, typically they sell for about 20 to 30% more than Forbes. I mean, they did nail the Orioles one, but previous to that, most of the sales have been way under what they 20 to 30%. historically. So that's about what the Rays paid. And if you add in the 10% that was held back by Sternberg, they actually paid about 1.53. So,
Right.
And it was, quote, worth 1.4 million. So did they, quote, overpay? No, I don't think they did. Not at all. And they'll be receiving, once the stadium deal is done and they hand out the 2 expansion teams, the new group is going to get a huge chunk of that $5 billion in expansion money. And, and the revenues just keep going up for baseball. So I don't see any indication that they're not going to. I mean, you can say, well, they didn't want to pay Fairbanks. That seems more like a competitive decision by Eric Neander than it does by the new group saying, oh, we're cutting payroll. That you can't make that assumption right now after one move. And they did pick up Belouds. If they were just totally going to cut salary, they wouldn't have picked up Belouds, right? They would just move Chandler Simpson to second and called it a day. So if anything, this round of cuts tells me anything, it's that, okay, there's still going to be, significant payroll here. And Fairbanks was a decision that they made. So anyway,
and it's possible they can still re-sign Pete Fairbanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
They could.
He's not 100% gone for good. If no one, and again, I don't know if anybody's going to pay him $11 million.
Yeah.
But if he's still out there and they decide they want him back, they can make him an offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'd say hold on before we start making judgments about the new ownership group that they've overpaid and they don't have any money. Like, where is this coming from? Is there any signs you have any proof of that? Or is it just a thought that you might be having?
Yeah, so our discussion goes from the most maybe irresponsible former ownership group in the state to maybe the best ownership in front office in the state.
Yeah, that would be your Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
There you go.
And the COO of the Buccaneers, Brian Ford, joins us here today. What's up, Brian? How are you, my friend?
Well, happy Friday, and here we go. And thank you for those kind words. How's everybody doing, JP?
Oh, we are doing great, man. Salute to service. Got off to a nice little bang last night with your brethren USF winning in the stadium last night. That's some good juju. They had all the armed forces out there last night. That was fun.
Yes, that was great. And absolutely, we just need to keep this going for Team Tampa and the community. And very excited about this upcoming game on and off the field.
Yes, absolutely. And salute to service is something you guys have done so well. And you yourself, once again, are up for the salute to service award. And I can't think of anyone. Yeah, dude, I can't think of anyone that's more deserving than you. And we see everything on the surface. I know all the stuff you do below the surface that never gets any publicity that you guys do for the military. And it's just, it's awe-inspiring, quite frankly. And I know it's near and dear to your heart.
Absolutely. It starts with the Glazer family. It starts with our whole organization, Coach Todd Bowles and Jason Light, and our players, our staff, our community impact team, Courtney Sanchez. This is just in the fabric of our community and the fabric of our organization. And, I'm very fortunate to be the person that's listed, but it's a total team effort and could not do it without, again, the Glazers' support and just our whole organization. And it's who we are. It's Tampa. And this is a special, special day for us as an organization, as well as our community, to give thanks to, the active men and women in our armed forces, as well as the retired, and come together as a community, as we always do. And this is a special game. And, we're still waiting on confirmation as far as all the details with this government shutdown, as, anybody that's traveling, there's a lot of things that are unknown right now, but we're marching ahead. We're planning like, everything's going to be in place, and we'll just pick up the pieces. And as they say in the armed forces, make do, overcome, and make it work. So that's what we're going to do.
So give us some of the highlights of what we hope to see. And we say this with the caveat that the government shutdown may affect some of this, but what's the plan?
Yeah, no, as always, we hope to have a good flyover. We hope that we're going to, be able to kick off the start of the game, and then we're just going to recognize. And we have a lot of very heroic guests that are going to be joining us. Right at the top would be Brenda Schwarzkopf, and I know her and her family, and they're still very active in this community, active out at MacDill Air Force Base. And, we created a family award program years ago, and we honor a different family in each branch of the service, each game, and kind of come together. And they're going to be joining us. They're going to be recognized, and our fans love that. And it's special. And she's part of Tampa. She's part of this community and just our nation, our great nation. And to have her in attendance, and she's a Buccaneer fan at that.
Yeah.
So it's really special. And we have a couple Korean War veterans, 96, 97 years old. I mean,
Wow.
it's amazing.
Wow.
The old commander for CENTCOM, General Frank McKenzie, 4-star general, is
Yep.
going to be in attendance with his wife, Marilyn. And they're still residents of our community. And we're so excited that they're able to make the time and join us. And so it's just really coming together. And then, of course, the highlight is, what happens at halftime. It's my favorite halftime, and you think about it from these young cadets, to come to a venue such as Raymond James Stadium. And a lot of these cadets all grew up in Tampa, and to have their families watch them get sworn in front of 66,000. And believe me, the stadium's going to be packed on Sunday. It's a sold out game. And for them to get that opportunity to swear in and to make this commitment, and for us to bring some appreciation and gratitude and thank for them and their families, is what we should all be doing. But that's going to take place at halftime. Who's going to swear them in is suspect. It was going to be the new admiral of SOCOM, the new commander, and that's all up in the air. But we'll take whomever, and we're just going to celebrate and thank. And it's going to be a special day.
So Brian, we have actually a lot of military people that listen to this show, and overseas. I get messages from them all the time. I got a couple messages the other day from a gentleman that's been a long-time listener, who's stationed in Qatar, and his son now is moving up through the ranks as well, and they kind of keep in touch. So you're speaking right now to a lot of folks overseas that are huge Buccaneer fans. Do you have any? I know you have a lot of great military stories, but you have any stories of things that you guys have done for some of these military folks? I know we have the reveals when we bring them back, and we
sure, with their families. And let me just stop you right there. And to all your listeners, whether they're across this globe or here in Tampa Bay, anyone that served, thank you on behalf of the Glazer family, our entire organization. Thank you for your service. And thank you for your sacrifice. And for the moms and dads out there, the husband and wives that have, loved ones that are in the service, thank you for your support to them, because we don't do what we do on Sunday. And JP, you and I have talked about this many times.
Right.
We're in the entertainment business, and people, take it and they get excited. And I love that, and the support that we get is second to none. And we have some of the best fans, but none of that happens, and none of it really matters in the grand scheme of thing. And we realize that we don't lose that for a moment, for a day, that we don't do what we do if they're not doing what they do. And, the sacrifice and what has happened throughout this past year alone on the military front is just a credit to those individuals. And, Sunday's game, not only here in Tampa, but throughout the league, it's a salute to service throughout the NFL. And as, representatives of the NFL, we could not be prouder and more appreciative for the men and women that are serving and that have served this great nation. And because it allows us to do what we do, what you do every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't happen if we're not a free nation, and that doesn't get lost for 1 second. So all your listeners, thank you. Thank you for what they've done and what they continue to do. And we're just honored to be part of it. And, we do our big training camp practice, and we try to surprise and delight. But all it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's to say 2 words, thank you. And that's what Sunday's all about. But, from stories, it just, the folks out at the 927 at the 6th Air Wing, the more than close to 4,000 people that go to MacDill Air Force Base each and every day and say that they work, members at CENTCOM, members at SOCOM, the lists, we have 2 new commanders. And we just want them to feel welcome and know that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but more importantly, the Tampa Bay community are behind them and are in support of their efforts, and with great gratitude. Take politics all out of it.
Yeah.
And this government shutdown is politics, and we don't want to get into that. But it's affecting our opportunity to say thank you and to bring to light and to bring some recognition. And, I go back to the cadets. We were hoping to have over 300 young men and women that were going to join and take that oath and in front of our fans. And that's what's special.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
It's you've been here before. You see how our fans react, and it's
Love
in the fabric of our community. And that's why so many of our greats stay in Tampa. General Corella is still staying in Tampa, from CENTCOM. General
Deal all the time. Yeah.
General Brian Fenton and his wife are staying as residents in Tampa. And we're proud of that. And we're proud of the relationships that we've built with them. And we're looking forward to the relationships that we'll build with, who's coming on next and who's coming here. We just want, and this is a special, special game. And, for us, for me personally, and it's just, it's special. And we can't wait.
I think the reason that they do stick around is because of the Bucs, the Lightning, and other organizations here, how they treat our military. They feel special. They get we get them down on the field. We get them in the studio at the Lightning. We give them special privileges because we want to thank them. Yes. And it brings it all full circle. And these are the guys that are going over and executing what they did overseas, which was incredible and really keeps us safe in a very big way. We saw that. Not too long ago. Right now, there's a lot of hot spots all over the world. I see McDill when I'm on Bayshore, and those planes are coming in and out every day. They're refueling all over the world right now in Venezuela and doing a lot of things to keep us safe. A lot of dangerous things. I met a man yesterday. I was at Biospine yesterday to get have an appointment. I met a man that has had 78 surgeries. 78 surgeries, Brian. He was on the flight line when a disabled vehicle came in, and they all went to help the pilot, and it got him out, and then the plane blew up. And he's 78 surgeries later. He's 73 years old, and he's like, yeah, both my arms were amputated, and they put him back on. I'm like, what? Like, what did you just say? And these are the sacrifices that these folks make, and most of them just walk amongst us, and you won't hear them say a peep. Yeah. But these are the times that we need to say thank you. And thank you very much for the sacrifices that you guys make. By the way, Ron Bucs Fanatic McClary is the guy. Shout out to him and his son Brandon overseas in the Middle East that are serving right now. So they're a big Bucs fan, and they will be watching on Sunday.
You tell them thank you, and if they're listening right now, I just want to thank on behalf of the Glazer family, our entire organization. Thanks for what you do each and every day. But you talk about Team Tampa, you talk about how this whole community comes together, and whether it's the Tampa Sports Authority, the Tampa Sports Commission, our great sheriff in Hillsborough County, and our great police chief, and our mayor, and our city council. Everybody is consistent, and everybody can agree upon that this is a town that we want to show our gratitude and our appreciation to the men and women in the armed forces. And I think we do it well, but we need to continue to do it. It's not a one and done. It's not just a checkbox. And we all need to think about how we can thank and what recognition we can bring. And there's going to be a lot of heroes. We're going to mention them up on the scoreboard. I mean, we have some heroes, as I mentioned, Korean War heroes, and some men and women that just like the gentleman you were describing that you met, that experienced some unbelievable injuries, and they're still true, proud of what they're doing, as they should be, but they wouldn't change a day. And that's what's remarkable. And these so self-serving, and we're just proud to be a part of it. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on.
Absolutely. And I'm telling all the fans that, and we'll put the link up on our socials to vote for you. They can go to Buccaneers.com and vote for the
Bucs. Yeah.
Vote for vote for Brian Ford, but vote for the Bucs for Salute for Service. Absolutely. We need to win this. So everybody go on Buccaneers.com. We'll put it on our socials as well.
I appreciate that.
I got
really what we want to do is bring awareness to the fact that we have the great men and women at MacDill Air Force Base, it's CENTCOM and Special Forces SOCOM, and they're residents of Tampa Bay. And that's really, we want the world, we want the NFL community, we want everyone to know. So that's why, I'm humbled and honored to be the face of it, but it's a total team effort, and it just doesn't happen. So
I'm going to embarrass you some more here, my friend. Matt D says, Brian Ford, thank you for letting me try on the Super Bowl ring on the Bucs cruise. Congratulations on Salute to Service.
No, Nathan Elliott. I wouldn't have that ring without the fans. And you and I have talked about that, JP. I think more people have worn that ring in this community, outside of this community. because I wouldn't have it without the fans.
You share it like it's not yours. It's crazy.
It's
Hello,
exactly right.
Nathan Ellis says, hello, Brian Ford, the best chief operating officer in the league. We got so many folks on here that are just thanking you for all the great stuff that you do, man. So we really do appreciate it.
I appreciate all of them and their support. This is unbelievable, the support that we get in this community, and we want to bring another championship back to Tampa. But as important, we want to be part of this community. And
how you feeling about your squad? Can you get Bucky healthy?
Hey,
can you get some of these players out? Have you seen them out there look out the window? Tell me how good.
They're out there right now. They're out there right now.
Give me some intel on how Bucky's running around. Come on, Brian. Give me something.
Believe me, everybody wants everybody back on that field. We want our team, our roster that the magician, Jason Light, has pulled together, him and his staff. Just amazing how, Coach Bowles and his coaching staff has had the next guy step up and take a spot. It's unbelievable with all the injuries that we've had, and how this team has stayed together on and off the field. I mean, led by Baker. I mean, he's the leader that's getting these guys behind him, and I'm so excited each game that somebody else steps up that wasn't even starting. You go back to that tip pass and that touchdown run. I mean, how tremendous was that? But it's a total team effort. But we're excited. This game is special. It's a tough 3 games that we got coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 of them on the road, but we're at Raymond James on Sunday, and we take it 1 week at a time. And as we've mentioned, it's our salute to service game. That's going to be special. Our players love it. One of my favorite aspects of it is when you see all of our players and the opposing team players kind of interacting with these up to 300 cadets that are going to be on the field pregame. And their different T-shirts representing the different branch of the service that they're going to be going into, and to see our players interacting with these kids, and thanking them for what they're about to do and the commitment that they're giving to our country. That's special, and for the players as well as for the cadets and for our coaching staff, and that's a special time. So come early, come on out there and watch, true Tampa sportsmanship, but just Tampa support to our great men and women in the military, and you'll see it, and it'll make you proud to be Tampanian. And thank you for
Brian,
giving me the opportunity to come on here.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a question, because we've your guys go out into the community and they do it with such cheer, and you can really feel the authenticity in it. It's not like they're, our boss is making us do this. They really do it in that way. And Baker has led the way in the community in that way. And so is Tristan and all of them. We see them everywhere at Lightning games, everywhere. Yep. And they've become part of the community. And I love that. I mean, talk a little bit about
great role models from that previous,
exactly.
Derek Brooks and the Rondé Barbers, and the guys
part of the culture.
Mike Allstott, and it's part of it. I go back to that video that we put out celebrating our 50th season, and what a 50th season it's been. But I still love that video that we put out there with Steve Spurrier and being the narrator, and Bucky interacting with Mike Allstott, and
that was awesome,
and Rondé interacting with Baker. And, so there's a lot of legacy, and Derek Brooks welcoming Mike Evans into the lobby and saying, hey, I hope to be on another team with you someday soon. That's the history, and it's the Buck history. And I credit the Glazers for creating that aura and trying to create, and welcoming our old players part of the mix. And, Coach Bowles welcoming him back, and Jason. And it's a total Buccaneer team effort. But that creates that aura and that history of what was done in the past, and to bring it to light. And, our current roster, they appreciate that, and they want to step up, and they do it. So it's great to sit back and watch all that come together. But thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah. Now, I'm just so proud of the organization and what you guys have been able to do in the community under your leadership. And it's been a terrific run, and there's so much more ahead. We got, we just announced the national championship game. I'm sure we'll have Super Bowls coming back here. The stadium's going to undergo a bit of a renovation. The Rays may be next door. I don't know. There's a lot going on in Tampa, and it's all positive, bro. And you guys have really led the way.
No, it's great. Thank you for that, and appreciate the insight that you give to your listeners, and the opportunity for us to share the different stories that we share. And there's a lot of football to be played, but there's a lot of things that we're going to be doing in the community as well. So I
Not just
welcome the
winning
time
games.
to come on anytime to kind of showcase. But today it's about the military. Today it's Veterans Day coming up, and it's our opportunity as a franchise, as an organization, as a community to say thank you, and that's what Sunday's all about. So
cool.
Can't
Can't wait, man. I'll be there. We're bringing it all together. By the way, thank you for this hat. I wore this today just because you got this for me last year.
Yes.
It's my favorite hat. I love it. People love
There
it
you
as
go.
well. Thank you, partner.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you again,
Brian.
all the listeners, and thank you for the opportunity. We'll see you on Sunday, and go Bucs.
Go Bucs. See you Sunday. The great Brian Ford, Bucs COO. We'll put up that link, by the way, so you can go vote for the Bucs and Brian Ford. Salute to service. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
All right. Man,
How about that?
It's awesome when it just and he's such a part of it, as the kind of the top there at the Buccaneers in terms of his fan interaction with all the fans. I mean, I've never seen a COO that interacts like Brian does. He's out there handing out popsicles and training camp and water and everything, and he talks to all the fans and lets them wear the ring. It's crazy. He truly is like the most blue collar dude in a big position that you'll ever meet in your life. I mean, his story is incredible. When he was at college at Florida State, he was in hospitality industry, and he would literally drive on Thursday after class down to Miami and run the concessions at Hard Rock for the week for the college and football for the whole pro game, and run that, work it, do all the managing and work, selling and everything. And this is why he was still in college. And he'd be there. And then on Sunday night after the Dolphins game, he would drive back for classes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and do that's an 8.5, 9 hour drive, folks, every weekend. And, that's insane. Back in the day before cell phones, so it wasn't like you're talking, doing business and talking on the phone. It was, that dude is the most driven, hardworking, blue collar guy you will ever meet in your life. And he's getting a lot of accolades got a big award at Florida State from the business school, well-deserved, and winning just about every award you could possibly win in the community because he does the work. He does the work. If Rob Higgins doesn't win it, Brian will. So we appreciate him jumping in. All right, let's take another quick break. We'll come back on the other side, get to your comments. More lightning. We got Antonio Brown to talk about. Some interesting stuff on the Marcus Nealon situation. So a lot more coming your way. We're brought to you by the great folks at thirdgenerationplumbing.com, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. They're also AC experts, and they work with American Standard Heating and Cooling to provide you the best possible unit for here in Florida. Keep you warm in the winter, cool in the long, hot summers. It's American Standard Heating and Cooling, the best units as far as durability and efficiency go. American Standard Heating and Cooling and thirdgenerationplumbing.com, your dynamic duo to get your HVAC needs done. And if you need plumbing or anything mechanical around the house, it's thirdgenerationplumbing.com. All right, back in 3 with your comments. It's the holiday season, so come visit the wonderland of jewelry at the Gold and Diamond Source with over 25 times the inventory and selection of the average jewelry store. Guys, get your shopping done early, and if you have no idea of the trends and styles that your lady wants, that's cool. The incredible staff led by Julie and Steve Weintraub and family will offer up some great ideas with no pressure. They offer everything for the first-time jewelry buyer to the most exquisite selection of museum-quality pieces. Enjoy a comfortable, relaxed atmosphere and experienced staff, geologists, jewelers, and designers for all your jewelry needs. From the luxurious jewelry boxes to their VIP customer care, there's many reasons to make sure it's a Gold and Diamond Source diamond. Keep it local this holiday season. Shop online anytime at goldendiamond.com or just come by their showroom at 3800 Overton Road and always online at goldendiamond.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man, Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent-rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group. Welcome to Kingmakers, home of the JP Peterson Show studio and Tampa's premier business networking and social club for members only. By day, it's an exclusive, vibrant co-working space with a stylish conference room, focus rooms, a full production studio, and an in-house marketing team. And by night, Kingmakers transforms into a sports-centric social hub with a full sports bar, golf simulator, and exclusive events. For young entrepreneurs and seasoned professionals, it's the perfect place to work hard, play hard, and make big moves in Midtown Tampa. Close the deal, celebrate the win. Only at Kingmakers. Become a member today at kingmakerstampa.com. Your business, your club. Are you looking for an honest AC and plumbing company? I mean, that's like trying to find a humble Saints fan, right? Well, try my friends at Third Generation AC and Plumbing Services. Been in business since 1995 here locally. And listen to what one of their customers said. Quote, the gentleman providing the service was exceptional, on time, knowledgeable, professional, and experienced. He was efficient, cleaned up behind himself, and did the work expeditiously. He not only repaired a sink, he repaired our toilet that was constantly running. We have used this company several times. They are awesome. Says it all, folks. Testimonials really say it all. Call 813-961-8024 for honest, fast service. 813-961-8024 or thirdgenerationplumbing.com. We also do AC.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right. Welcome back to JP Peterson Show here on this Football Friday. We'll get into some more football here and a little baseball at the end of the show. Restus Estrada is going to stop by right before we do a Big O show today. Another Big O show coming up live, 12:30 to 1:30, but we're really going to dig into the Rays. We'll give you a little piece of that at the end of this particular show. And we are brought to you by the great folks at Genesis of Tampa. We are still taking your donations for Jamaican hurricane relief. Those folks got hammered down there. So whatever you can bring over to Genesis of Tampa, 801 East Bears Avenue, we will take it down to Jamaica, courtesy of Gray Bolt Rescue. Great folks over there. So also, if you want to jump in and buy some of those MREs on Amazon, you can have them shipped directly to Genesis of Tampa, and we will deliver them directly to the people down there. No middleman, none of that stuff. A lot of these charities you work with, folks, you don't know where the money's going. Trust me on this. Gray Bowl, Genesis of Tampa, all of this relief is going directly to those people. We'll get it to them. So bring it by Genesis of Tampa, or you can have them ship those MREs to help feed the folks down there, because 2/3 of that island got destroyed. It is not good.
You ever been to Jamaica?
I have. Beautiful island. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, I've never been.
The mountains, the water. Yeah, beautiful area. Obviously a lot of poverty, but in some of the natural areas are incredible. Want to get into some of the comments here. John Hill says Brian Ford is the leading rusher for East Lake High School football this season with over 1,000 yards. Yes, there are 2 Brian Fords. Wonder if that's any relation to Jerome Ford. Running back. Douglas Batista says, liked Fairbanks' competitiveness. Michael LaRue is correct on the velo and strikeout rate. He's good, but didn't show elite closer stuff in 2025. Must not have been a good return to pick up option and trade. We wish him well. Yeah, I don't think you can look at this move and say it's anything negative about the new ownership group. I think that's a real stretch. If you're doing that,
you're just looking for something.
Yeah. Whatever. Rick says probably not John Hill. However, if it was JP, he would have over 2K rushing and 3K passing. That is correct. Come on. Go check my stats. Check your sheet. I'm going to brag a little. I was an all-pro at every sport in elementary school. Yeah, look up my Hollywood Hills elementary numbers at recess. They're off the charts.
I think ESPN's got those listed somewhere.
K-Red says 45 points in 7.5 minutes of possession time for USF. Have you ever seen that? No. And the Bolts put that bad first period behind them with Dominic James' first goal, Cooch reviving the power play. Let's go double dub. Yes. By the way, welcome in K-Red. First time I've seen you in here. Mm-hmm. New viewers and commenters all the time. We love it. Kenneth McCleary, good morning to you, said the world is a safer place now that Quick Draw McGraw, Antonio Brown, is safely locked up behind bars to face his charges of attempted murder. One of my most clairvoyant predictions of all time, when I said about Antonio Brown, this is not going to end well for him and hopefully not anybody else. I've always been very hopeful that he didn't take someone with him, which he almost did. Yeah. I remember hearing that story, like he got in a fight at a bar and then he grabbed the firearm and fired it at people.
It was at that celebrity boxing match, the YouTube guy or whoever it was. Yeah.
I'm like, how do you not get arrested for that?
Yeah, he grabbed the security guard's firearm and left with it, like he kept it.
And he's shooting at people. Like last time I checked, that's not allowed. Yeah. Yeah. Not that he's ever had any respect for the law whatsoever.
No.
Yeah. But I mean, to extradite him and bring him back to Florida, that's doing something. I ain't sad. Patrick says UTSA isn't going to draw a crowd. It's not about UTSA, Patrick. It's about USF.
You shouldn't have to depend on the road team to draw a crowd to your home stadium.
You can't get 35,000 on a Thursday night. And it's the administration, the coaches, the players, they're doing their part. And I've heard a lot of times people say, oh, well, you got to win and bring a good team here and then we'll come. I'm like, that's not the way it works in college sports, folks. You have to create an atmosphere that players are going to want to come to. I mean, we're waiting for you to get to number 2 in the country and everybody show up for West Virginia, that just makes us Miami. That just makes us fair weather fans.
Be better.
We got to be better. Come on now. I mean, and the tickets aren't expensive. It's a great experience. Shit. I mean, I literally left my house in South Tampa and was parked and in there in less than a half an hour. I mean, tell me another major event you can go to where you can do that. I mean, it's not. We got to be better. We got to be better fans. We just do across the board. I know money's tight. I get all that, but we just need to be better. James says, it's admirable the 180 you have done on USF the last 3 years. Talking to me. Taking nothing away from Bulls, but UTSA. And by the way, I was in Ray J when Bulls were number 2, but when this is not sustainable. But then this is not sustainable. Okay, a couple things. I said USF in the last couple of years, they're winning games, but they haven't really beaten anybody until this year. Yeah. And they got the 2 top 25 wins. And now they're getting some quality wins. That's different. In year 3, that's what you would expect from Golish. But now they got to finish it. You got to finish it. You had to slip up at Memphis. You lost at Miami. That's no big deal. But a slip up at Memphis, a game you should have won. But that's, when you have emerging programs like this, you get a little success. You get the Boise State win, you go win at Florida, you start reading your press clippings. This is what kids do. Keeping them focused and winning is a hard deal, and it's something that has to be learned. So you slipped up at Memphis State, but you got a reprieve. Tulane lost to this UTSA team, by the way. They're not garbage. They've had some really, they're a good team. Yeah. Not a great team, but they're a decent team. That win last night was not like against East Texas State Commerce. That was UTSA that beat a very good Tulane team and drubbed them last week.
With East Texas State? Why are you picking on East Texas State?
Because Florida State ran them out the gym.
Which is
if Florida State can do that, you suck. You suck.
They're East Texas A&M now.
I have turned on USF because they got some quality wins. That's why. So, and I think that was a good win last night. The way you dominated it. Yeah,
it was for sure.
And he says this type of offense is not sustainable. Miami put 100 on them last 2 years. It's great to watch, and Bulls will be great in American Conference, but not sustainable in bigger conferences. You're talking about the high up-tempo offense, etc. I think there are challenges to it. No question. It puts a lot of stress on your defense. They have to play a lot more, but you're scoring points. And listen, when you're at USF and you have a talent deficiency against the big boys, you have to make up for that in certain ways. And part of that is to be really good at up-tempo offense and take advantage of how smart you are and how well you execute, because that up-tempo offense is not easy to run. It takes a lot of discipline, a lot of smarts. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of practice to get good at it. And you hope that up-tempo gives you an advantage tactically. The other team can't substitute. You tire them out. It's something that levels the playing field when you play against the Miami of Florida, a Boise State, where the talent gap is somewhat substantial against Miami, certainly. So you got to do it. And so far this year, it's certainly worked for him. Sergio says UTSA is a bad team, and USF did what it needed to do, some whoop ass. They were 4-4, and they just beat Tulane.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't they play A&M decent earlier in the year, or did they get squashed? I don't remember.
Decent early in the game, but yeah, I mean, eventually it was a mess.
Got overwhelmed. Yeah. James says it's lunacy having your quarterback who without him you can't win in the game late. I don't care about ranking because USF knows if they win the American, they're in the playoff. No reason for BB to be in the game. I never said that. I said I was fine with Byron coming out in the third, but I said keep your foot on the gas. I don't know if the second quarterback wasn't executing, but you got to keep scoring points, in my opinion. With your second string, no, Byron should not be in the game. I agree with you. Listen to what I said. And James says, by the way, I'm so glad Derek Brooks is the COO. It's great for the Bulls to have a Hall of Famer in your program. Yeah, we said this when we had Derek on the other day. I mean, and last night was a great example of it. All those recruits, and Derek's down there in his USF garb, walking up and down the sideline, talking to these kids.
How cool is
wow. That? I mean, that's a recruiting tool. I mean, if you're of Derek Brooks, you know him as a Buccaneer, as a Florida State Seminole. If you don't, do the research. These kids know who he is, and when he walks up, it's a different deal. I mean, that's big time cachet.
If they didn't know who he was before, just because they're young, I get it. But upon hearing that he would be at the game to greet them, I guarantee you everybody Googles and Wikipedias and does all this stuff, right. and then they're impressed. So that's a big thing, no matter how old you are. For these kids. Yeah,
and I haven't found out for sure, but I'm quite sure Alex Golesh probably had him in the locker room at some point, maybe saying a few words to the recruits or the players themselves. Yeah. So what a coup to get him in that way. What else we got here? More right rudder says seems like they'll get J-Mac, Chris Godwin, and Bucky still sit as long as they need them to sit. Well, I mean, it's not must-win territory yet, that's for sure. So, yeah, if you can keep them out, you keep them out. More right rudders, or Nathan Elliott says, Godwin may be done for good. Godwin had a fractured, dislocated ankle. I was doing some reading, and recovery rates are low. The hardware complications are high.
So I was going to comment on this before you brought it up. I was actually looking for it in the chat. Yep. So we have some real world experience with this here in Dallas, because that's the exact same injury that Dak Prescott suffered. What was it, 2022 in Game 7 against the Giants?
Right.
And if you look at Dak Prescott's game before the injury and you look at Dak Prescott's game since, he is an entirely different quarterback. He does not have nearly the mobility. He was very much a running quarterback coming out of Mississippi State, and that's one of the reasons the Cowboys drafted him. And since that injury, and of course he's had a pretty serious hamstring injury where the hamstring completely tore away from the bone that he's dealt with even more recently, but that injury changed his entire game. He did not have the mobility as a running quarterback that he did before. And when you think about that situation with Chris Godwin, who is a wide receiver, whose game is predicated on cuts and moves and sometimes speed for him, man, it's I thought that at the time of the injury. I'm like, man, if he can come back from this, like it's a miracle, because it's such a disruptive injury for a game for a wide receiver, and I'm not saying his career's done. Obviously we all certainly hope that's not the case, but he may not be the same guy even if he does come back, so-called 100%, because that is a devastating injury.
Well, that's not good, because we got, I think, 60 some million guaranteed invested in him over the next 3 years.
Post-injury, like that was given to him post-injury too, right?
Post-injury, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But again, you have to have confidence that Jason Light did that knowing something we don't know.
Right.
The
story is not told, but right now, it doesn't look good. But we got a long way to go. Brandon Weed says, not that we need a first baseman, but I'm a little surprised we DFA'd Bob Seymour. Why not trade him and get something out of him, unless they're hoping nobody picks him up and re-sign him to a minor league contract? Yeah, Big Bob Seymour, he's kind of this hit or miss home run guy. I don't think he's highly in demand. I don't think anybody's going to pick him up. So we'll see. He was a nice guy to have last year, but I think we would endeavor to do better. I don't know. I mean, is he another Cal Raleigh who finally figures it out late in life and can, hit 60 home runs? I doubt that. I'll take 30, which he's done in the minor leagues, but I think we can do better at first base. Plus, we're going to pick up Yandy's signed as well. James says it was not performance issue for not picking up Pete's option. Simple as that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a money thing at all. Rick says, JP, you have to be patient with Rays fans. They have to be deprogrammed from the Stu cult of spending. We need time to heal. I mean, it's just way early to start making calls on this new ownership group. Can we give them a little bit of time to, get the stadium deal done and figure out what they're going to do with the payroll? I mean, come on. Jimmy,
this is their first offseason. Yeah, I mean, give it a
make
rest.
One move and it's like, oh, they're cheap. Like what? I mean, it's not like Pete Fairbanks was lighting it. This is not a Charlie Morton situation where it's $15 million and he's coming off a fantastic year and it's a no-brainer to add it to pick up his option. Like, it's not that. Rick says Derek Brooks walking around the stadium and then he points to his name in the Ring of Honor. That's me right there. You want to play here? That's me. I'm gonna be watching. And also, there's accountability too, right?
That might be the worst Derek Brooks impression I've ever heard in my life. What was that?
Sorry, that was my Derek Brooks. Come on, JP, you're better than that. Jordan G says Bucky also has more physical stuff going on as well. He may be done for good as well, but hope that's not the case. We don't know. Jordan. Nobody knows. I know Bucky and Godwin have been running around, but I don't know how close they are to come back. Nobody knows. All right, let's take another break. We'll come back on the other side. Orestes Estrada is going to join us. We'll talk a little bit more Rays baseball. You want to talk some more college football. We got FSU and Clemson coming up. A couple other notes as well. Hey, don't forget this weekend, Cafe Paradiso is a great choice. If you're looking to go out and have a little dinner on the town, get your reservation at On Table, where they're the number 3 ranked restaurant by the people that do all those reviews. That's pretty cool. ParadisoTampa.com is the website. Just go check out some of the great food. Oh, man, I've been there many, many times. Trust me, folks. It is the greatest traditional Italian you will ever have, with lasagna and the sausage pasta. I love it. We need to go back there soon. Cafe Paradiso. Get a reservation. Go say hi to Paulo and tell him JP sent you. Back in 3. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. Experience the art of driving at Genesis of Tampa, where luxury meets innovation and every detail is crafted for you. From the bold G70 to the refined GV80, Genesis delivers power, elegance, and technology years ahead of its time. Book service online, and our Genesis Experience advisors will pick you up and drop off your vehicle. If available, you can enjoy a courtesy car while yours gets a complimentary interior vacuum plus a generous offer for your trade. Every new Genesis comes with the Miracle Advantage Plan, 10 years or 250,000 miles of powertrain warranty and 4 years of complimentary maintenance. Visit us at 801 East Bears Avenue or online at genesisoftampa.com. Genesis of Tampa, luxury redefined. Italiano Insurance would like to congratulate the Bucs on their 50th anniversary season. And you know what? We've been here for every season and then some, over 60 years in business. We've seen some smart coaches with great game plans, but if you don't have flood insurance or business insurance, that's a terrible game plan. That could ruin you financially. You don't want to take that L. So call 813-877-7799 and let their friendly agents quarterback your insurance and save you big money. Italiano also sponsors our FSU report every week, so go Noles! 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Are you looking for an honest AC and plumbing company? I mean, that's like trying to find a humble Saints fan, right? Well, try my friends at Third Generation AC and Plumbing Services. Been in business since 1995 here locally. And listen to what one of their customers said. Quote, the gentleman providing the service was exceptional, on time, knowledgeable, professional, and experienced. He was efficient, cleaned up behind himself, and did the work expeditiously. He not only repaired a sink, he repaired our toilet that was constantly running. We have used this company several times. They are awesome. Says it all, folks. Testimonials really say it all. Call 813-961-8024 for honest, fast service. 813-961-8024 or thirdgenerationplumbing.com. We also do AC.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Kingmakers Tampa, where we're coming from right now. This great production studio you see here at Kingmakers Tampa, you could use it. If you become a member, you can do that. And we have great conference rooms. We have private offices you can use here, so you can do your business here. And then enjoy some of the accoutrement that we have here, like a golf simulator and our big sports bar. It's all at kingmakersoftampa.com. Become a member now before all the memberships are gone. Kingmakerstampa.com. Go online and schedule a tour to come on by. Hey, before we bring Orestes in, I wanted to, Tim, for you to chime in a little bit here on the Marshawn Nealon situation. It's become a huge story, obviously. 24 years old, scored a touchdown, on top of the world for the Cowboys. And from what I've read, was universally beloved by the community and his teammates, one of those great guys. And, and ends in a tragedy like this in suicide in a portalet of all places. I mean, what can you tell us about some of the other details you couldn't tell us yesterday?
Yeah. So, then that's what we found out was about the police chase and how he died and the confirmation that it was suicide. I found that out via Cowboys PR, but we were asked not to, state it publicly yet as we were ending the show yesterday. But for the Marshawn Nealon story, you kind of have to go back to the week he was drafted. The week of the combine, he lost his mother suddenly. It was not an illness issue. It was, and I, to be honest with you, I don't know if we ever found out exactly what happened to her. I don't know if it was a traffic accident. There was some speculation that was suicide as well. And there was an interview that he did that has resurfaced after the draft when one of the Cowboys.com writers was asking him about his mother. And he got very emotional talking about her and talking about how she was his rock. He grew up without a father. She was his rock. He knew that she was, even growing up, he knew she was dealing with demons and stuff, but she never, ever, ever let that on to the kids. As far as the kids knew, she was hunky-dory. Everything was wonderful. She was the happiest person on the planet to her kids. And as he got older and could see through certain things, he knew she was dealing with things. And as he was telling the story to the reporter, he started bawling. I mean, he broke down. And now it appears just, as some of us have talked and I never talked to him personally or interviewed him or had any contact with him personally, but others have said that it appears that's kind of how he was dealing with his own demons, just pushing him down, not letting anybody know what he was dealing with and trying to deal with it internally and on his own. His girlfriend has come out now and told a few people that she saw recently in the past couple of weeks. She's seen a change in him, whereas she thought he was fine before. And apparently, so something snapped. He left the house, I guess the other night, and I guess that would have been Wednesday night, and texted his family and closest friends a goodbye text, and had decided how he was going to satisfy what he needed to satisfy. So the family immediately called 911. The police showed up at his apartment. He was not there. They put an APB out on his car. They found his car driving. They were attempting to pull him over and engaged in a high-speed chase where they lost him. And then eventually found his car crashed not more than a half mile from my house here off the Dallas North Tollway. But it was empty. So then and of course, the reports that they had, the family said he is armed. We think he has his gun. So they were very cautious with their pursuit and their chase. And the way, not to be too graphic about it, but the way they ran up on him early Thursday morning, I think it was 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, is they found a trail of blood in the street, and they followed the trail to a porta potty that was up the street. And he had locked himself inside, and that's what happened. So it's and anytime something like this happens, the mental health subject comes to the forefront, as it always should. It should always be part of our daily dealings with anybody and ourselves, to be honest. And so it's one of those things where nobody saw signs, it's to that extent, and you typically don't. And I know the subject is, just check on people, ask people how they are, and call your loved ones and check up on them.
Put your phone down from scrolling and call and talk to people, reach out to them.
Yeah. That doesn't mean they're going to tell you anything though, but so I don't know. I love the mental health issue. I love that it's it's not taboo anymore, because JP, you and I growing up for a long time,
Oh yeah,
that was just something you didn't talk about.
I've been to extensive therapy, and it's
Yep.
helped me tremendously deal with a lot of things. So, my dad passed on Wednesday, and it's just, and I'm going through a little thing myself, and I don't know how to act. I don't know, like, it's just weird, but talk to people about it, and that's what I've been doing the last couple of days, is just talking to people, and it's interesting. Sometimes you reach out to people and you don't think you'll get a response, and then you do, and then an hour later you're still talking on the phone. So we don't want to bother people. We don't want to pick up the phone and call people. Don't just text them, call them, reach out. If they don't want to answer, they won't answer. If they do, you'll probably find out. You'll have a long conversation that you should have had a long time ago. So if you want to change anything in your life, and I've been doing this more intentionally lately, call people. Pick up the phone and call them. So, all right, without further ado, I want to bring in my man, Orestes Distrada, to talk a little bit baseball, and you can chime in on this if you like. And our kids, man, today, this younger group, and we have no idea what they're dealing with, man, with the access to the phones and social media, and people are so rude and nasty to each other. It's just gotten so far over the top, man. We got to swing this pendulum back and be careful about what you say to people, and reach out and contact them and love them. And
my condolences on your dad passing. We both have had this now.
Recently,
last couple of weeks. You and I, and our father.
Two very different dads, by the way.
Well, still, it's blood, and it's family, and it's history. 24 years old. This is devastating. And as you said, I mean, the reaching out, we don't do that anymore. One of the things that I don't like about social media is that it's antisocial. Yeah. And, so I just had a very dear friend of mine I hadn't talked to in many years, reach out to me and left me a voice message. And that meant so much to me. Yeah. On the heels of my dad passing away a couple of weeks ago. And then I reached back out to him, and we had, like you said, I thought I was just going to reach out and talk for 5 minutes and say, hey, Bobby, thanks for calling. And we just got into this, thing that kind of eased my heart too, because it's still,
feels good, doesn't it?
It does
talk to another human being.
To another human being, touch another human being, properly. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but my goodness, sorry to hear that, and our hearts go out to that family. And a tragic loss for him and his mom.
I tell you what, one of the good guys in an awkward transition, but one of the good guys in the area is Pete Fairbanks.
Yes, he is,
and we love that dude. Right. And he's the best quote and we're gonna miss him if we don't re-sign him. I mean, so many. It wasn't a specific suck; it was an all-encompassing suck. That was my favorite. Yeah, the Pete Fairbanks quote. But we had kind of postulated they would pick up that option and maybe trade him.
Right.
Because it was, I think at 11 million, he's a pretty good value. Right. But Neander decided not to do that.
I'll tell you what, here are two things that I take away from that. And the first one is the quote by Eric Neander, which was, quote unquote, even without all of that being what he had brought to in the last 6 years with his organization, being part of winning, being part of right in the middle of the World Series push, and the couple of other years that they went to the postseason, and how solid he had been. I believe 75 saves in the last 3 years. He says, even with all that, it was still hard. It was a hard decision, but one we felt we needed to make to give ourselves some flexibility as we enter into the winter here. So you have to read into that to think, okay, so their mindset is we need to free up that money and do something with it. Okay. Right. So it's $10 million. It's not 11 because you're going to pay them $1 million for a buyout. So really you have a $10 million on the plus side now. That what do you do with that? And the second thing that comes out of it for me is what is the one most important thing this offseason the Rays needed to address? I know what I feel it is.
I would say power hitting outfielder.
Power hitting. Stop there.
Yeah.
Offense.
Yeah.
Stop there.
Yeah.
Okay. And it as much as we had so many injuries on the pitching side, primarily on both sides, bullpen and starting pitching. But, primarily in the starting pitching. Didn't have Shane McClanahan again, right? Hopefully he's healthy enough to come back, and what a force that guy is. That's like a free agent. If he comes back at 90% of what he was, you just
free agent
you just signed a free agent, right? This is a guy that could win 15, 17 games. But on the offensive side, now it kind of makes sense maybe what they're doing, because if you kept, and you did, Brandon Lau at 11.5, you're assured you can still package him up, but you're assured a 30-plus homer guy.
Right.
All right. So you know that if that package deal doesn't happen where you end up getting another power hitter in a trade or something like that, because I still think
you still have that asset.
You still have that asset. And we are very weak on power hitting. Nothing against Aranda and what an incredible year he has, but he's not a 30-plus homer expected guy.
Great hitter, not a great
hitter, not a big slugger. So we had no offense in the outfield, right?
Yeah.
So then you where are you going to get your offense? And you have to score runs. We gave up a lot of runs in the bullpen in crucial situations, but when you really break it down, you're talking about a pitching staff that bullpen wise that saw Uceda take a big step in the second half. Not only was he good, he was great.
Dominant.
He was dominant in the second half. I really like the lefty Clevenger, right? So he showed his wares. You got a Jackson Jackson that you gave up a Taj Bradley Jackson, so now you got Jason Jackson and you can probably try to close him. I really like Baker from the sidearm scenario because he gives you a different look. So Hunter Biggie coming off of an injury.
Forgot about him. Yeah.
Manny Rodriguez coming off of an injury. So they had enough in the drawers, if you will, in the cupboard to fill what they feel was not to give up $11 million or another $10 million.
And it hurts. His strikeout rate though has declined significantly from 14 every 9 to
even though last
8.
year was his most complete season, if you think about it, as far as innings pitched. I felt
saves. Like he was always in trouble.
He was always a lot of times he was in trouble. He saved 27 out of 32, and a lot of those 27 saves there was some tricky situations.
There was going on.
It was
great entertainment.
Yeah, it was definitely what was the one from the Orioles and the Mets back in the day, Armando. Oh my goodness, I can't remember his last name now, but he always gave you you're always worried.
Yeah, Benitez.
About Armando Benitez. Yeah. So this is a guy that. Here's where it sucks. And I think Neander is trying to stake that too. You don't have too many faces of the team right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you really break it down, it's not,
we're getting rid of one of the favorite players again.
One of the favorite players. So the three favorite players right now are, Yandy Diaz. It's Brandon Lau. It's, Fairbanks on the mound. So those hurt, but I think they're doing it. If his quote is on point, he's doing it in order to free early on. What does that mean? What do I take from that? We're going to manipulate that $10 million.
We're going to go use it other places.
We're going to use it other places as soon as possible.
You certainly can't be making any assumptions on where this whole thing is going, where their philosophy is in terms of payroll on this one role.
They weren't going to jump in and all of a sudden we're going to sign everybody and do a Trent Grisham, Yankees deal where they get, they give this guy qualifying offer.
Right.
Trent Grisham just got $22.5 million.
No, we're not doing that.
So, the apples to the oranges, because Trent was a full on free agent and not a guy that had an option available, because the Yankees would have readily exercised an option for 10 or 11 million on Trent Grisham without a problem.
Right.
But on the flip side, they say, you know what? We don't want to lose this guy. We have enough money. Let's just go ahead and give him 22.5 and we'll keep him for that.
Yeah.
They can't do that. Okay. So
nor should they.
You can, nor should they. But they should if they were at a different level.
Yeah.
A few years from now.
No.
But you want to see the team do some dramatic moves like that, because that's a dramatic move.
Yeah.
Trent Grisham went from hitting 190, making $5 million, to now he hits 34 home runs and he's guaranteed 22.5. That's the chasm there is dramatic. Right. So this is a situation where I think it was calculated in let's free up this $10 million as soon as possible and let's do something with it.
Some other
now
things.
The next level is, what are you going to do with those things?
Huh.
Are you going to package Brandon Lau and go get another power off you, or are you going to keep him and you're going to use that $10 million? They don't really need, from what I see in the bullpen and the way that they do their pitching and how justifiably good they have been in the length of time. We're talking about the last 5, 6, almost 10 years. I'm going to put my money in that they're going to fix things, right? With the arms that they have.
100%.
So
and they've got that opportunity.
That's not where the money probably needed to be spent. Now, all that being said, you could have just, agreed to the 11 and then pushed to trade him.
Yeah.
But I think
let's save that for the Big O show.
Yeah. I don't think that was something that they wanted to challenge themselves with if they don't get that perfect deal.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to talk through all the moves that the Rays made, what's coming up next, World Series residue, all that cool stuff coming up on the Big O show coming up 12:30.
Oh, by the way, one more thing. We can also talk about the awards that are coming out starting Monday.
Absolutely. Big O show coming up live 12:30 to 1:30. Thank you guys so much for jumping in here. Great job, Timmy. Thanks to Brian Ford and Scott Carter as well. We will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.